Okay, this is the new 2026 Vanquish CE Disassembled. Now, you've heard me say many times that I strongly recommend against opening brand new reels to tinker with bearings and whatnot, especially if these brand new reels are expensive. And yet I went ahead and opened this very expensive blacked out Vanquish CE for two reasons. First, my reel felt a little bit dry and I didn't want to fish with such an expensive reel while I'm feeling that the gears are working with kind of a dry contact. I just have a little phobia. And finally, I have a YouTube channel and I was very curious and I just wanted to take this clean look inside that you're seeing right here instead of hearing, opinions from YouTubers. Okay, with that out of the way, let's look inside the new Vanquish and where did the dry feel come from. I have not touched or greased anything here. You can see the oscillation worm is very well greased. There is even a little bit of grease on the plastic gears of the oscillation worm. And the pinion gear, this yellow brass thingy in the middle, that thing has plenty of grease under and on top, but here is my main gear untouched with anything. Look at the surface of this main gear. By the way, this is the exact same main gear of the old Vanquish. Some people are saying that it got special surface treatment. There is no changes to the main gear. This is the exact same main gear of the old Vanquish. But my gosh, the one in my reel is dry as a bone. And for that reason, both of my reels, I will be opening the other one as well. Both of my reels feel a little bit dry and a little bit noisy. I don't want to be negative because these reels feel amazing. I will come up with a lot of criticism during this video, but I want you to remember one thing. These reels feel amazing and we are going to be talking about splitting hairs left and right here. So the first thing we're going to do to my new Vanquish is dab a little bit of grease. Now, one thing that not a lot of people know, and you wouldn't guess, is that over here on the back of the oscillation worm, Shimano is running a plastic bushing, okay? Even in the Vanquish. That's the same plastic bushing that they put in the Vanford, by the way. And one thing I do on all of my Vanquish and Vanford reels is replace this plastic bushing with a bearing. If for no other reason, just because this bearing is so easy to replace. You don't have to open the reel at all. That's the beauty of replacing this bearing. You just remove this cap here on the back of the reel, and there is one other screw here, and you can pull the plastic bushings with some tweezers like this, and you can slide on the new bearing and you're done. It takes 5 minutes to replace. And this is one upgrade that you can actually do even to a brand new reel, just because it's such a low risk procedure. Another thing that I want to mention is that during the assembly, these people used thread lock like there is no tomorrow. Like this reel will never be disassembled. But a lot of the enthusiasts, and I will say this and I hope Shimano hears it, a lot of the enthusiasts enjoy opening their reels and doing the maintenance themselves, and they are not going to appreciate this. It made me scratch one of my screws, which by the way, the screws are all blacked out, which I do appreciate. This one is okay. Which one is? Look at the thread lock. I mean, these people with the thread lock, take it easy, guys. I did scratch this one. It's not too bad. I was very careful, but it's unavoidable if you have that much thread lock. And I will get back to the thread lock and the over tightening after I close the video. I don't want to spend too much about it now, but this nut, unscrewing this nut to take the rotor off, oh my god, I had to put a scary amount of force, and using so much force in a 1000 size ultralight reel, it just makes me nervous. And when I put these nuts back, I never tighten them to the same amount they came out of the factory. My considerations are not performance or engineering or anything like that. I'm just afraid to use so much force to tighten the rotor like this. Okay, the bearings. Now Shimano says that they replaced some bearings in this reel with the same size bearings but with lower resistance, oil instead of grease, stuff like that. These two bearings that support the bearings on both sides of this main gear are exactly the same as on the old one. I can confirm this because the part numbers are the same. If you want to buy them from Shimano, they will give you the same bearing that comes from the old reel. So no change in the bearings on the main gear. But, and I'm not going to open my reel to show you this because you're not going to be able to see anything anyway. But the part numbers for the bearings on the pinion gear here, the yellow thingy, the bearing under the pinion gear and the bearing above the pinion gear, these are different and they cost more money. But so far, folks, after a very careful analysis of the old and the new reel, these two bearings here, and this one I'm not even 100% sure, this big bearing on top of the pinion gear is the only bearing in the entire reel that I was able to confirm has been replaced. But this is not the end of the story. This is my old Vanquish, you can tell by the silver spool. One thing that always puzzled me on this otherwise perfect reel is how does it have so much slop in the handle here? It has like almost 1 millimeter free play here. And all three of my new Vanquish CE, here is my new Vanquish, and you cannot really see this, you're gonna have to trust me on this, but all three of the new Vanquish reels have a lot less slop here in the handle. A lot less. It is noticeable. And my question is, what made the slop disappear? By the way, I'm certain in this difference because I have 3 of the new Vanquish, 2 of the old Vanquish, and I have received many comments that the old Vanquish, perfect as it is, does have some slop in the handle. So I'm certain that there is some kind of improvement somewhere in the tolerances to remove some of this slop in the handle. I just don't know where the slop is, and this will remain an improvement which I just have not identified. I will get back to this issue of tighter tolerances in the new model after I close the reel. One issue that all of the expert YouTubers are talking about and about which I absolutely do not care is that over here on the old Vanquish, over here there is a silicone seal. This black thingy here is a silicone seal to stop water from getting inside the reel. Now over here on the new Vanquish, on the handle, you will see that there is no silicone seal. Shimano said this silicone seal was rubbing in the frame of the reel. It was creating resistance. We can't have resistance like that in our super high-tuned performance model, tournament grade Vanquish CE. So they removed the seal and improved the performance of the product. I do not care about this seal at all. You can keep the seal, you can remove it. I fish only fresh water. I rarely fish in the rain. I don't care about the seal either way. I just think it's a huge red herring that distracts the attention from the real questions that should be asked. And the question that is the 800-pound gorilla about this reel, and which somebody from Shimano should answer, is why did they replace the 35 millimeter handle with a 40 millimeter handle? What was the reason? But I don't want to go there right now. I do want to close the reel first, and I'm gonna start talking about these things. But let me first grease the reel the way I want it, put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and we're gonna discuss some things that are really bothering me. There it is, folks, back together again in all of its beauty. I know you're all at the edge of your seats. You can't wait to see the results of the iFish grease and the iFish reassembly. So let's just take a look first and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's see if it's going to do a 360. Let's go on the other side. Almost. See, we made a 360. It needs a little encouragement, just a little bit of encouragement. But it will go 360 now, without touching the handle. It will go 360 now. See? It will go. Come on. See? 2 360 turns. It is, in my opinion, just a little bit easier to turn now than before the reassembly, but this, folks, is totally beyond the point. Why? Because this is a 40 millimeter handle. Even with the 40 millimeter handle, the resistance of this reel is nowhere near the resistance of my old Vanquish with the 35 millimeter handle. I mean, this is not even close. This reel, there is no situation from where it will not turn. It just absolutely doesn't matter. It's not close, okay? It doesn't matter from which situation you turn it. It never stops. With a 35 millimeter handle. Now, for those of you who know physics, torque is, measured in foot-pounds. It's feet times pounds. So it is a direct linear relationship from both the pounds and the feet. Now, if we hold the pounds constant, that means that if you increase the length of the handle by 10%, with the same knob, you would be putting 10% more torque. Now, the new reel has 40 millimeter handle. The old reel has a 35 millimeter handle. Well, 40 millimeter is 14.2% longer than 35 millimeter. That means that the same knob, folks, is already putting between 14 and 15% more torque on the gears here, trying to rotate the rotor, than the other reel. And here is the question that I want to know, folks. Give me a second here to position everything steady for you. The question that I want to ask, folks, and I really wish Shimano would answer this question, is why did they replace the 35 millimeter handle in the 1000 model with a 40 millimeter handle? I'm sure some of you shrug it off and you're like, who cares? They thought it would be better. Who are you to say what handle it should have? And by the way, I'm not saying that 35 millimeter is better than 40. That would depend on your preferences. Maybe you would like 40mm better. I'm asking, the model already came with a 35mm handle. Why did you change it to 40mm? Now, here is why this question is an absolute dagger. It's a dagger in the heart of the Shimano marketing claims. If you know a little bit about physics and spinning reels, you will know that this model here, the 1000 size model, is the most sensitive model in the entire lineup. And what do I mean by sensitive? I mean that if you have any imperfeciency in the manufacturing, imperfect gears or some poor tolerances in the bearings or some resistance, any imperfeciencies at all, they will be the most difficult to hide. Those imperfeciencies will be the most difficult to mask in the 1000 size model. Why? Because all the parts are so small, and the weight of the parts is not enough to hide the imperfeciencies. These same imperfeciencies, if you put them in the 2500 size or the 4000 or the 5000, you're never gonna notice them. But in the 1000 size model, everything is noticeable. This is the key, folks. Now back to the question. Why did they put a 40mm handle? The entire marketing advertisement of this reel is that it has lower resistance. 15% or 25%, I forget the exact number, but they claim that this model has lower resistance. Well, if you have lower resistance, why do you put a longer handle to mask the resistance? This is what longer handles do. They hide the resistance. Why do you think all of the Quantum and Fluger and loose reels in Bass Pro shops come with this ridiculous 60mm winch of a handle? They come with these ridiculously long handles to hide the resistance because they have heavy, clunky rotors and a lot of resistance. And now people are starting to talk about the resistance. Some people will notice the extra resistance. So what do? They cheat. They hide the resistance with a longer handle. So I repeat my question. Why are we putting a longer handle on a model that is marketed precisely with lower resistance? To me, folks, the fact that they put a longer handle on the 1000 size model is evidence that Shimano knew that this model does not have better performance. I'm not gonna say that the performance is worse. This will depend on my reel, on your reel. I don't want to go that far, even though as far as my reels go, the new one actually has worse performance in terms of resistance. Forget about the 25% improvement. This reel actually has more resistance than my old reel. I am sure that Shimano knew, they knew that the 1000 size model does not feel better. Maybe they even thought that it feels worse. But at minimum, they knew that it doesn't feel better. Because otherwise, folks, they would never put a 40mm handle on this model, I can tell you, because it just looks so bad. I mean, it's the opposite of what you're trying to demonstrate. You talk about oil instead of grease and removing the seals and 25% less resistance. You show the videos that you're spinning the reel more, and then you put a longer handle. So, with all of this information, what do I think about this reel and what is my final verdict of this reel? I absolutely love the reel. A little bit shocked, aren't you? But if you don't believe me, let me show you. I bought 3 of these. I bought 2 of the 1000 size and I bought 1 of the 2000 size, but all of them in the low gear ratio. You know, on YouTube, the only way to make money is to run either in one ditch or the other. If you drive middle of the road, nobody will watch your videos, nobody will give you a thumbs up. The only way is to stir some emotion and to say that either the reel is fantastic or it's a piece of shit. But let's stay cool here for a second. Okay, the resistance is, let's say, not better than the old one, but the old one already had the best resistance in the world. Which reel has better resistance than the Vanquish? None. No Luvias ST, none of these Luvias, none of these Ariete, not the Exist, not the Stella. The Vanquish is still the king of the world. And on top of that, the only things that bothered me in the old one, this silver spool and the silver knob on top, are now gone. I mean, this reel, folks, it looks absolutely gorgeous. You can mount this reel on any rod, like the Shimano Soare XR, like the Daiwa Presso. I already put it in the Daiwa Presso. I will put some images here in the video. It looks absolutely phenomenal. With the orange polyester line and this all blacked out color, it looks amazing on the Presso. The 2000 size that I bought over here, it will look amazing on all of my Yamaha Blanks models. So yes, I love the reel, but do I recommend the reel to other people? This is a different question, and no, I do not recommend this reel. You are not buying a new reel, you are buying the old reel. And on top of that, at least as far as this model goes here, the 1000 size model, you are not getting a resistance improvement either. So no new reel, no performance improvement, then why spend more money for the old model and not wait for the new model and get a legitimately new model? So for the last time, yes, I love the reel, but I want people to know why I love it. It's not for the performance, it's not for being a new model. I just love the aesthetics. The aesthetics for me are important. For me, I can tell you that it makes sense, but I cannot recommend this reel to other people with a clean conscience. That's it, folks. This is the end of this story. I believe I made my points clear. I'm sure a few people will still buy this reel even without the improvement, even without being a new model. I'm also sure that most people will do the right thing and just wait for the really new model. But this is enough for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. I got many videos coming fishing with this reel, by the way. So watch out for the fishing videos. Give me a thumbs up for this one, and I will see you soon. Bye bye, folks. Today is Surprisingly difficult. I thought I was gonna kill them today. Take it however you want, but maybe there's one. I thought I was gonna come and just load the boat with big bluegill. What is this? Feels decent. Man, this Vanquish sure sounds nice. The new one. It sure sounds nice. That's not bad. What about it? He ate the nymph big time. There's one more. Hey, 3 fish in a row. Has to be a bet here. I love to watch this yellow line run. Pardon me, orange. Now look at this beautiful combo, folks. The old Vanquish didn't look good with the Presso Air AGS. That's why I bought me a few of these, just because they're black. Call me silly. I like all black. It goes with everything. You can put any line. You can put it on any rod. Yeah, this nymph might be a little bit big for this particular group of bluegill. Only for this particular. We finally found a spot where I can stop and enjoy my reel, folks. That's all I wanted to do. This cold weather, you know, there was more fish here on the points 2 weeks ago, and the water was warm at 65 today, but it was already 67 2 weeks ago. This one is maybe a little bit nicer, but when I say that, well, I don't know. What do you guys think?